Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. This podcast is hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the sport of bowling. You will get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this generation, who just happens to be the son of a living legend. So, without further ado, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob Francois, Dr. Ocho, and the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr.
That would help if I unmute my fucking mic.
Way to start it off.
I blame Ocho. Hey guys, welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your host, Rad Rob Francois. This is episode number 19. We apologize for not being here last week. Some personal issues are going on with our various families. Ocho doesn't have a family. He's just lives by himself, and
That's all I need.
Yeah, you don't need anybody but yourself, because you can only count on yourself, right? You don't need anybody else.
That's it. I'm reliable. Plus, just look at me.
Yeah, I mean, he figured out a long time ago, and I wish a lot of us could live like Ocho. I think we should all strive to be, the Ocho. Look at the guns. Look at the guns. You can't see it's an audio podcast, but he's flexing.
No, you can see him. It's audio. They can see him, though. That's how big they are.
You know, it always gets me hot when you do that. So I told you about that a long time ago.
Can we splice the beginning and just put A in there? Because if it says it's A hard hitting, then it all flows so good. So why don't you hit pause next week? We'll all say and then you unpause it, and then we'll let the rest of the signature go, the intro, right?
That still bothers you, obviously, because you mention it every week.
It's grammatically incorrect, and we're professionals here.
We are. Well,
especially me.
One of us is. Any event, we're also joined by the one and only sexiest bowler in the entire world, Mr. Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good evening, sir.
What's up, guys? It's good to be back. Missed you last week. Certainly have a bunch to talk about with the PBA Players Championship being contested over this past weekend. Really actually looking forward into diving into that this week. So I'm looking forward to a real good show here.
Well, let's not waste any time then. You mentioned it. It was this past weekend. Sean Rash said something very controversial. We're going to jump into that as well. But for those that don't know, just give everybody a synopsis of the shows, what they entailed, and then we'll get into what Mr. Rash said.
Sure. So the PBA Players Championship, it's broken up into 5 regions across the country. And the top 5 finishers after 28 games of qualifying in their respective regions all make it to the preliminary show, which was contested Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, with 5 live shows where the top 5 from each region competed against each other. The winner of each one now goes on to the 2022 PBA Players Championship Finals, which is live on January 29th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So the players this year is actually really enjoyable to watch because you got to see a lot of young talent mixed in with a lot of legendary talent. So you got to see new names that are one day will be household names like a Cortez Shank or a Wesley Lowe or a Matt Russo, while you also had the privilege of watching bowlers like Tommy Jones and Norm Duke lace them up and just still doing what it is that they do so well. And each show yielded, actually, in my eyes, the show itself, the finals, is going to be one heck of a show to watch this weekend, simply because of all of the issues that are surrounding player to player on the TV show, as well as the talent on the show itself. So just if you haven't watched the shows, the 5 winners of the brackets were Graham Fa, Tommy Jones, Sean Rash, Arturo Quintero, and Jason Belmonte, which Jason, obviously, we all know, due to COVID last year, had to miss a ton of bowling and qualifying. And I'm not sure if he was the 4th or the 5th seed, but watching him run the ladder and just basically just put on an exhibition of how to throw a bowling ball for 4 straight games, that was pretty impressive to watch. I mean, he never counted less than 9 on the entire show. And I think he bowled a little 230, 240, 270, and 250. So right around 1,000 for the 4.
So it takes a year off of bowling on tour, which is different than bowling in your bowling alley at home. Takes a year off, comes back, and then just friggin' runs the table. Ain't that something?
Can we consider him, when it's all said and done, one of the greatest of all time? I mean, do we put him in the same category with guys like your dad and Earl Anthony and Mark Roth and, Walter Ray and Pete Weber and all that?
I personally put Jason at a level above everybody.
Wow.
I think he's the best bowler to ever walk the planet. I think he's bowling's Tiger Woods. That's what I think. He is my age. He's in his late 30s, and he has 13 majors.
Yeah.
And his percentage of major telecasts that he gets on, that he makes, and it's everybody's like, well, he hasn't, and the doubters or the haters, the people that don't agree with that will say he hasn't stood the test of time. He hasn't been around long enough. How long can he keep bowling with that style? It's going to create all these health and body problems later on in life. Well, yeah, fuck all that, because if I'm a pro baseball player, I'm not really looking at longevity. I'm looking at making my millions, kicking ass while I'm young and healthy, and then doing something else in my life. And either way, Jason's in his mid-30s, and I can certainly foresee Jason bowling two-handed when he's 50, probably even when he's 60. So that, to me, is not even an argument. And because longevity, okay, if you have longevity, but this guy's got 13 majors and he's not 40 yet. Second highest major earner in the history of bowling has 10.
And they don't even have as many tournaments as they used to back in the day, too, I don't think, right? Like, aren't they about like maybe a third of what they used to be? So even the opportunity to win may even be a little less percentage-wise, I guess. I'm not sure exactly, but like I know they were relative to golf years ago.
There are less events. Like, it's not a full tour of 18 cities for a fall tour or anything like it used to be. But the majors are still the same amount.
They're still the same majors, yeah. Okay.
What they did do was they created, I believe the Players' Championship was considered a retro major. In other words, it was never originally a major until recently. So like when Parker Bowen won the Players' Championship, it was considered a major. Had he won it 5 years prior, it wouldn't have been. So they did add a major technically. So, but even so, his record is unmatched, and it'll just never happen again. You'll never see anybody that's that dominant ever again. There's not enough other things you can do with a bowling ball to create as much power as he does, mixed in with accuracy, as it was displayed on the spectrograph on the show this past weekend. I mean, he was within a board of his target every single time.
Ocho, just to get into the physical aspect of it, Johnny had mentioned that he can't throw that same way when he gets older. So physiologically, what stress does that cause on his body? From
honestly, I feel like it's going to be easier on him because he's supported at least. It's still awkward. Anytime anything is away from your body, it's going to put stresses in areas in your core, in your accessory areas. So. But that's what bowling with one hand does. Look, if you had a bowling ball in your left hand and your right hand, and you threw it, you'd be able to bowl for 50 years because you're symmetrical.
Yeah.
But by bowling with one bowling ball, you're asymmetrical. When you're two-handed, you're distributing it a lot less. So you're actually taking. Remember, your elbow is bent as hell. So the stress on the bicep is probably way less because most bowlers have their arm straight. A straight bicep with that's going to pull on their thumb, that's going to pull on their flexor muscles. He doesn't use his thumb, right?
No.
So I mean, like there's different areas that he's going to prolong, like a tendonitis of the thumb or of the forearm flexor or bowler's elbow, golfer's elbow kind of thing. Yep. It's called epicondylitis, basically. The only things I can think of would be torque on the lower back, much like a golf swing, but it's way less than a golf swing. And if these golfers are playing, Freddie Couples has had a bad back for 40 years and he's still mashing the ball. So yeah. I think that the mechanics are probably safer and less aggressive because you're supported with both hands for 3/4 of the throw, or actually 90% of the throw. It comes off at the last second, maybe. So he's probably in much better shape than a one-hander is.
Johnny, how does he hold up to the different patterns? I mean, he can pretty much score on anything that you put in front of him. I mean, it is quite remarkable that he's still that accurate no matter what the lane condition is.
Yeah, he can move anywhere on the lane left to right, and he could throw it as high in the air and as far down the lane as he wants, or lay it down as quickly as he wants. He's the best.
What's his
most of the guys will to be so good at one aspect, you sacrifice something else. Like you were talking about a month ago or so about guys who play up the 5 board. You know, that's their trademark. You put them inside, they're just not going to do as well. And you know, there's always the guy that can do 80% of it awesome, but the 20% is going to come about. It seems like Belmo's the one guy that you haven't found even a 5% that he can't do.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing he can do. I mean, case in point, the show this weekend, they were bowling on dual patterns. I think the right lane was 39 feet and the left lane was 45 feet. So he used a pitch black, which is a urethane surface bowling ball, playing fairly direct up the lane the first 2 games. And then he started to migrate a little bit left, but he stayed with that urethane ball, and it was still an entire 2 zones further right as to where he was on the left lane. On the left lane, he used he started with a 900 Global Reality, and then he went to a Zen Master, which are both big asymmetric covers, or big asymmetric cores on solid, strong cover stocks. So he's demonstrating, while he's averaging 250 and not getting less than 9, 2 completely different zones on 2 completely different oil patterns, and having seemingly no effort even. You know how, like, when you're trying to hook it a little bit more as opposed to throwing it straight, you'll do something with your shoulders, like
a little different. You'll try to help it a little bit. You'll try and go at it a little more to try and hit it or something. I was just thinking that, because if you're playing up 5, you just kind of float it out and roll, stay behind it. That's got to be so hard to do from throw to throw.
That's what I'm saying too. And he did it effortlessly. And
that's exactly what I was thinking of. Holy shit.
What's his
and just in general, he was so in control. Like, you could tell that Jason was there to bowl. He was there to bowl, and he was there to win in that region, in that preliminary for the region. He wasn't there to be a side commentator. He wasn't there to anything like that. He was there to do his job. Which,
by the way, he was pretty damn good at last year too. I didn't even, because we haven't been talking about anything, but like. Belmo, I don't know if he took a lesson or anything, but the dude did a great job at color or at doing side commentary and interviews last year, because, I mean, he talked bowling, but he kept it. You could understand what he was saying. It was amazing.
Yeah, Jason is extremely well-spoken, extremely intelligent, and loves the game. And he's I agree. I wish that he would be a guest commentator more than this garbage that we have to listen to every year, but...
We've already done that, and we've noticed that anyway.
They prove it every week, man. Every week I'm watching. This was some of the greatest live bowling I have watched personally in over 10 years. And they legit almost fucking ruin the entire thing with the nonsense they say. It's no wonder that the ratings, forget about sponsorships and all that, and we know all that, but it's no wonder nobody fucking watches us, dude. Bowlers don't even understand what the fuck they're talking about. How the hell is somebody that just happens to flip to that channel have any idea?
I just imagine Chris Schenkel saying something like, and it's a party in the pit or something like that. Like the guy was the classiest guy, perfect for bowling especially, and a voice of God, no less, and told it like it was and gave the backstory instead of inside jokes like yours. I didn't see it, but I was just thinking of like the stuff that they would say and their Anchorman impressions and whatnot. And so Chris Schenkel wouldn't do that. That's all.
Johnny, who was the guy that used to always have some fucking like word for strikes, like a 4-bagger, 5-bagger, Yahtzee, fucking like all this.
That's Rob Stone.
Jesus
He's one
Christ.
of the commentators.
That used to be annoying as fuck.
Well, that's who's still in there.
Does he still
Him and
do?
Randy Peterson.
Does he do the same shtick?
Yeah. Now they have a fucking ham bone song. Like they play a song
Oh, Jesus.
when somebody throws a 4-bagger. I think it's from Alexi Lawless and the soccer club, but it's like a soccer chant. But they're singing about.
He was a soccer commentator for a long time for Fox, I remember, right? Wouldn't that what was?
And that must be where he got it from.
What happened to Dave Ryan? I used to think he was good back a whip.
At least, I always liked Dave too, because Dave also didn't know bowling, but Dave sounded like he was trying to understand bowling.
Dave kept it on track at least,
Yeah.
like-
And he was very well spoken, and he looked like he actually gave a shit about the sport. Not saying Rob Stone doesn't give a shit about the sport, but
it's a job probably.
Matt, I'm going to give you a prime example. Matt Russo, who was on the show in the region that Rash won, Matt Russo is on his first national television show, and They never talk about his emotion. They never talk about what he must be feeling. They never even let you fucking know that what he needs to win the fucking tournament. I'm sitting there and they're trying to figure out the score. Meanwhile, I've known the score since before the last guy threw his last frame. And these guys, all they want to do is talk about the ball motion and the tracking system and this and that. And it's like, meanwhile, hey guys, by the way, if he gets 5 on this fucking shot right now, he loses. How about you tell the fucking people watching?
Set the table for that. I'm okay with that ball motion thing because for amateurs, I do like to know it. But like, if they want to set the table and say, we don't have a thing that says it's a 3-2 count with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th and 2 runners on, and you're down by 2. So there would be a good setup for it. By the way, Matt was at the bowling alley the other night, and I didn't know. I forgot that he was bowling. So go figure. And he came up and said, "Och, man, how you been?" And I said, "Oh shit, you still work here?" And he said, "No, I'm on TV this week." And I still missed it. I still freaking missed it.
Why do you do that? Like,
I don't know. I even said like, "Oh, are you at college?" And he's like, "No, I'm bowling on TV." I was like, "Shit, I thought you worked here." He was like, "Yeah, that was like 4 years ago." It's like, "Okay, good talk, buddy." And I said, "I guarantee," I said, "I won't miss it." And I missed it because I forgot all about it because I was goofing on his friend. Who's a friend of mine? I mean, it's not like, Ocho's got friends everywhere.
of course you do.
I'm notorious for not knowing who people are.
That's true.
So what happened here? We should talk about now the table's set. We're going to set the table the right way, like these dumb announcers don't do. And we're going to find out what happened because the bowling world has exploded. At least I've been told that. And we're going to find out. Set it up, Rob.
You just did.
Oh, there you go. Set it up,
I
Rob.
thought you did a good job too.
I thought you did a great job. How about you host from now on? Here, let me move you into this spot here. All right, you're the host now.
Should.
Sean Rash said something that was very controversial. Johnny, what did he say, and what do you think led him to say it?
Oh, this is.
You said he won though too, but he won. So
God damn it! I throw it to Johnny, and you still have to interrupt.
But hang on, because he just said he won before, so that's what I'm not following.
No, yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, there to set up. He won also, by the way.
This is controversial because depending on who you are in the bowling world, you will view this differently. And there's so many different ways to look at it, so it's important that I say that first. In that region, Sean Rash was the tournament leader, and he led that tournament from wire to wire, 28 games. And on that show was Matt Russo, a local boy from Howell, New Jersey, who both Och and I know. No longer living there, but great kid. Used to bowl him when he was a junior. Actually, I think I gave him a few lessons when we were both working at Howell Lanes some time ago. Matt is a PBA champion, won the Jonesboro Open last year. And he is qualified in the 4th or the 5th position. So, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Where was I?
5th position.
Thank you. Matt Russo's in the 5th position, and he's bowling fantastic. He runs the ladder, makes it to the title match against Sean.
And Matt's a lefty. We know this, right?
Matt's a two-handed lefty, which most two-handed or thumbless lefties these days throw urethane. Why? Because we want to fucking win, and it's the best ball there is, period. Yeah, that's it.
Makes sense.
The oil patterns on tour, the volumes that they use, urethane's perfect, especially on the side of the lane that nobody uses. So, having said that, Matt is now shellacking Rash in the title match with a couple frames to go. He's got like a 30 or a 35 pin lead, and Sean gets up in the 9th frame, and if Sean strikes out, he forces Matt to mark in the 10th frame, basically. Sean gets up in the 9th frame, he leaves a ring in 10 pin. Gets up in the 10th frame, throws it like absolute dog shit, leaves the 3-6, and as he's going to shoot the spare, he says, "Integrity my friggin' ass," as he lets the ball go to shoot the spare. Turns around, he says, "Yeah, I said it, and I don't give a shit." Now, this could be taken in a bunch of different ways, but now the fact of the matter is now the announcers are apologizing for the vulgarity and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And at no point has anybody said that Matt Russo, who is bowling to make the finals of a PBA major with a $100,000 first place prize this year, has to get up in the 10th frame and mark, keeping in mind that he already has gotten up in the 9th frame himself and left a 5-count split, the 2, 4, 6, 7, 10, and made it. Let me say that again. Matt Russo made that spare in the 9th frame.
1, 2.
Before Sean Rash got up and left the 10 pin, the 3-6, and then said what he said.
So that's 3 on the left and 2 on the right he made, right?
Right.
And he's a lefty, so he probably threw like okay, I got it. He chopped it over and
so now, because of the way it finishes, now he basically only needs 9 on the first ball in the 10th frame. The announcers haven't said a word. So the public still doesn't fucking know this at this point. I'm screaming at the television, are you going to tell the public that he needs this to fucking win? Matt goes up in the 10th frame, does the exact same thing he did in the 9th frame. Leaves the same exact 5 count. Now Sean, after his blow-up, who, when they pan away from the camera, you see him legit walk right by one of the all-time greats, Parker Bone, and basically turn his back to him, and the look on Parker's face, I will never ever forget the look on his face when Sean walked by him in that moment. And Matt leaves this split, and he misses it, and Matt loses 207 to 201. It's Sean's dad's birthday, so Sean, after sitting there in dead silence, the crowd is dead silent, he stands up, he says, "Happy birthday, Dad." He walks over, he hugs his dad, and he comes back to Matt and he says, "The comment wasn't against you. Hope you know that." I missed the part of the comment. He said 3rd time's a charm. He says 3 for 3. Before he says integrity my ass. He said 3 for 3, integrity my ass. Yeah, I friggin' said it and I don't give a shit. The controversy comes in a lot of different ways because Sean is outspoken and very, very public about his issues with the hammer, the purple hammer. Sean believes and has believed, and I'm telling you this because this is what Sean believes. Sean believes the ball is illegal. Sean believes the ball is illegal because it's soft to a point that they take out the durometer to now check the surface of the bowling balls because he causes such a stink about it every single week. He walks up and down and he takes account of how many people are throwing the purple hammer because he thinks it's an illegal bowling ball. In conjunction with this, now his comment, because most people are taking it that he's speaking specifically about the urethane ball and left-handers, now he's, talk about integrity, now he's, what's the word I'm looking for? He's discrediting the integrity of the PBA, basically saying that it's all a conspiracy and they're allowing the illegal balls to be used. Now, the other things that tie into this and the issues that I personally have with it is I've known Sean a long time, and Sean's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're friends with this guy, too. I remember you.
Yeah, I've been through a lot of things with Sean, and I know the way that Sean is. I know the way that Sean is perceived. But I've always thought that Sean had a good heart. I've always felt that. For better or worse, he was always good with me. But this time, because I know a little bit more of the backstory of what happened, it makes me question his integrity. Because I don't think it was directed at urethane 100%. I don't think it was directed at left-handers necessarily. I don't know if it was directed at a bowling ball company, but I know it had to do with a little bit of each of them. And one of them, the third one, which is the one that people are talking the least about these days, or at least at this time, is how the separation happened from the Brands of Brunswick with Sean to where he is now. When Sean was, when we were taking over the brands, or merging with the brands of Ebonite, Hammer, Track, and Columbia, all under the blanket umbrella of Brunswick, Sean was no longer the biggest fish in the Brunswick pool. He was one of many big fish, because now we got Don Barrett. Now we got, I can't.
About what year is this, JP? What year did this happen?
When we had a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. That got absorbed about what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, or
it wasn't that long ago.
Not even that long. Okay. Because he'd been a Brunswick guy for his whole career for the most part. Then
whole career.
Got it.
Even in college when he bowled at Wichita. But now he's got like Tommy Jones with Ebonite, Bill O'Neill's on Hammer. There's other big guns in the Brands of Brunswick now. So the split, and I'm not going to get too far into it, but the discussion that he brought to the table, the response that Brunswick gave him, Sean didn't like. Sean jumped ship. Sean goes and joins one of the smaller companies that doesn't have a massive headline name or more than one massive headline name, 900 Global. They got Chris Barnes, who's still one of the best, but he's getting older. He's on the senior tour. So he goes to 900. So now, not only is he not with Brunswick, now he can't throw the purple hammer. And now the purple hammer in a lefty's hand on top of it, oh my God, now it's like, I'm going to fucking start World War III. So those comments that were made, I personally think they were not only an attack on the PBA and his belief of the illegality of that bowling ball. I think it was strictly 100% thrown at Brunswick and calling Brunswick a band of cheaters. That's how I took it. Now, again, that's my view because I'm a bowler. If you look on the internet and when you find out that he was fined an undisclosed amount for what he did, and he's going to be on a probationary 1-year period, and he's also been he's disallowed from he's suspended from one event in February, probationary period of a year, and an undisclosed fine for actions unbecoming of a professional. That on the onset, in the general public's eye, it is, that's not a big enough fine. He should have been fined more. That's nothing compared to what Pete Weber used to do, blah, blah, blah. And then you have other people saying, what a disgrace this guy is. I can't believe he would use that kind of language on television. What kind of example are you setting for the kids? It's teetering for the general public on does the punishment fit the crime? And then you have the other batch of people who also have a great point. It gets fucking ratings. Everybody on my social media feed was more interested in talking about what Sean Rash said than the awesome football game that was going on.
That's true.
We had the greatest weekend of football in playoff history, and that's what they're talking about.
And that's what's coming up on my scroll from every which way. And when it comes to the ratings, I'm like, yeah, I get it. And I get that the PBA doesn't have an identity and needs one. This is an argument I've had with Dad for years and years. My dad still views bowling as a white-collar sport like golf. Dad, I hate to fucking tell you, but bowling is blue-collar. Bowling is not white-collar. It is more like wrestling. You have to actually do shit that makes people want to watch it. They don't want to watch a robot throw a bowling ball 100 times. They want to watch Jason Belmonte because he does it with two hands, and they want to watch Pete Weber because he's fucking nuts.
That's right.
So I also get that. So there's so many conflicting views right now over what he did because everybody has a thought on why he did what he did. But the thing that throws me off the most is Sean says 3 for 3. Now, I don't know what that means because there were only 2 region shows before his region came on. The first one was won by Graham Fa, who is a lefty that was using a purple hammer. But the second show was won by Tommy Jones using a Black Widow Ghost, which is one of the newest releases from Hammer. It's asymmetric and it's pearlized resin. So even if Sean loses against Matt Russo, who was throwing both a purple and a black hammer, it only would have been 2 out of 3. It wouldn't have been 3 for 3. So even that didn't make sense to me. So long story short, it's all over. It's what everybody's talking about. I even let my guard down, and I posted my disgust with what he said on social media, and so did a couple other top-name professionals, one of which is on the show on Saturday. So it's, one of the best things that could happen is if they actually feed off of this now to get higher ratings for this Saturday's show, because on Friday, and this is a horse of a different color, I want to bring you both in on this because I think you guys need to help me understand what's happening with the online service with the PBA. But they're having the seating for the show on Friday night at 8 p.m. It's going to be streamed on PBA's Facebook page. Our online supporter, Flow Bowling, is not. They are not showing what could not only be one of the most enjoyable seatings ever, but it's not being shown anywhere but on PBA's Facebook page a day before they bowl to find out who's going to be in what qualifying position.
Ocho, I'll let you jump in here in a second, but I just one point I want to make before we talk about the online thing is you said something about, it sparks ratings. That's all people are talking about. And you mentioned wrestling. If you want to tie that all back into wrestling, Eric Bischoff, who was the executive vice president of WCW during the Monday Night Wars in the late 90s, wrote a book called Controversy Creates Cash. And that's exactly what you're getting as a result from that statement by Rash. People love that shit. People want to see controversy. They want to hear about controversy. They want to see something other than, like you said, other than a robot just throwing a bowling ball. It sparks interest because, truthfully, to most people, bowling is a boring sport. Just like people that aren't into golf can't sit through golf because it's boring, or people that aren't baseball guys that fall asleep watching bowling or watching baseball. So it is good for the sport that happened. While I don't agree with what he said, or I don't agree with him showing his ass on TV as a professional, because he is representing the sport and he's representing it at a time where it's down lower than it ever has been. I think it is good because people might be tuning in now to see what happens next. Now, regarding the Flow Bowling thing, Ocho can speak to this. We've tagged him several times in posts for this shows, and number one, they never respond, they never retweet, but I mean, they have a low following as well. It's like, I don't know what it is about bowling Twitter. Nobody fucking...
They're just not active. They're not active at all.
They're not active at all. But I mentioned watching the Walter Ray Open a few weeks ago on Facebook Live, and I told you they had, like 900 to 1,000 people watching it. I mean, for bowling, that's for anything, that's really good. So maybe that's why... Maybe just based on the metric, that's why they're pushing the Facebook Live, because more people have access to it. Does that make sense?
If they want something, what they should do after the seating is have an interview, a legit sit down live 10 full minute interview with Sean Rash.
Yeah, money.
I mean, dude, I'm thinking of like the wrestling way, like when something controversial happened in wrestling,
don't hide from it.
Well, we have The Rock backstage, and we're gonna sit down with him, and JR would do it, or with Mick Foley, or I mean, yep. Dude, if he just lit the pilot light, then let him explain himself, and whatever, it could take off even more. It could flatten out, but I don't think it'll die off. Because now it still has to play out. So regardless of the avenue he takes, it still has to play out.
Don't run from it. Embrace it and feature it.
If that's the way they got to go, hey, people would watch.
It'll work.
Well, I'll tell you what, with what has happened, and And listen, a couple professionals made posts after Sean's outburst, and then they took him down. So because they took him down, I'm only going to hint at the fact that one of the guys that wrote something and took it down is also on the show. Mm-hmm. So what it really does for the ratings now is the entire country already knows that, or the entire world that follows bowling already knows that Belmo and Rash don't get along. They've always had problems. The bottle incident, Sean always feared Belmo in my eyes. Yeah. Because Sean knew Belmo was the only bowler out there that was better than him, especially in his prime. And I've always felt that way. And I think that Belmo sends it back at him by being as nice as he can and like all fruity and jolly and all this. Meanwhile, he's like, I'm going to put this motherfucker in the ground. So they both do it in their own ways, but they're both on the show. So ideally what I want to see happen is I want Graham Fa and Arturo Quintero to bowl the first match. And I'm kind of stealing this from my buddy's podcast, which I listened to earlier, Sweep the Rack. So I'm going to give this a shout out to Big Mike and Rob over at Sweep the Rack podcast, because I listened to this earlier and I said, whoa, that's exactly the way that this show is supposed to go. Arturo Quintero bowls Graham Fa in the first match. Graham Fa wins because Graham Fa is throwing a purple hammer. Sean Rash qualifies third. So now Graham Fa is bowling Sean a lefty with urethane. Then I want Sean to win, and then I want him to have to bowl Tommy Jones, who, can we kind of decipher maybe who took a post down at this point? Oh, okay. I want him to bowl TJ. I want him to bowl TJ in the semifinal match, and I want him to actually beat TJ because then he gets to fucking bowl Belmo in the title match. So there's a lot of excitement that can happen through Sean's behavior over the years on this telecast. And again, my mind goes 8 ways from Sunday about this because every time I seem to say something, I persuade myself more in that direction. Like maybe it was a good idea what he said. But yeah, it was certainly what a weekend of bowling and what a weekend of football. Oh my God.
I mean, that's how you book a pay-per-view, right? I mean, just step by step, just building the intrigue.
And then have the payoff.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
That's why you throw an interview in there.
Yep.
Or maybe you record it the day before when you do. I don't know. But either way, but then you put it up right after you do the seedings. Yeah. And just let it play out, man. Like that's.
And make a real sexy video package too, which I know Fox, can do, of the history between Belmo and Rash, and then the statement that Rash said and Belmo's thoughts about it, and build it, man, like Rock and Stone Cold. Just fucking put a video out there with music to it, with all these clips and history.
Yeah, and then watch, they don't bowl each other, and
then they don't bowl each other.
Yeah. The seedings are all scripted up, and
right.
Yeah, that's
we can
true.
hope.
No, we can. But I mean, at least have that video on the back burner. So
there's still, regardless of the seedings, there's always going to be a decent chance they meet up. I mean,
yeah, if they're the two best, sure.
It's only right. It's only 5, right? 5 people are there. Is it 5? Okay, so was there 4 matches?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 5 guys, 4 matches.
All right, so chance. I mean, pretty. What is it? 30% then? If there's 4 matches, because there's only 30% ish, whatever. There you go.
That's interesting stuff, dude. And you're right. If it's the PBA, they've always been behind in the times. But I mean, if Fox is smart, they'll embrace what happened and feature it. Because
Fox might do something so stupid like give people boxing gloves in the freaking stands when it's just other bowlers or something watching, or like, you know what I mean? Like idiots in costumes and like Rocky Balboa robes or something. Like they would be that dumb.
Yeah, they would be.
Like, I'm sorry, like as much as I love it, but that would be stupid. I'm just saying, like, oh look, we're gonna have a heavyweight fight and have belts and whatnot. All right, whatever.
So I'm assuming nobody was monitoring the feed and master control, and there wasn't a 7-second delay. So
yeah, there should be a 7-second thing there, but I guess they just don't expect to hear it either.
Not on bowling, at least, right? So speaking of football, I want to get your thoughts on this, Johnny, because we know what Ocho thinks. Were you shocked that Patrick Mahomes was able to get down the field in 12 seconds and get in field goal range?
13 seconds.
Sorry.
No.
Why not? I mean, the Bills have the best, quote by the announcers, the best defense in football. They played their asses off the entire game. You know who the key players are. It's Hill and fucking Kelsey. But you let both of them wide open? It just doesn't make sense to me.
I answered the way that I answered just because I think Patrick Mahomes is so fantastic. I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I appreciate that kid's talent a lot. And to me, every fucking time somebody has the ball with less than a minute, whether it's 13 seconds or anything like that, they always charge down the fucking field.
Yeah.
Whatever the defense it prevent, maybe whatever they're using to prevent anything from getting in the end zone, but at no other cost. It's just, I don't know.
Which is retarded because you know that all they need is a field goal to go to overtime. So, I mean, they're not playing for a fucking touchdown. So you would think they'd at least play some man coverage and not zone. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. But, I'm kind of interested to see how the rest of the playoffs are going to play out now.
Yeah, I feel bad for Tom Brady because, he does what he always does and got them back in the game after being down quite a bit. And then they just let Cooper Kupp wide fucking open, which miscommunication between the safeties, I guess, but
how do you not have the right call in on the last play of the free? What was there? How many seconds left there? 42, I think?
Yeah. It was all out blitz. That's what they went for. That's what Tampa was blitzing the entire fucking game. But when it comes to that situational kind of football, you don't let the number one fucking guy on the planet wide fucking open. It just...
Well, again, the safety, it looked like he took the tight end, and he shouldn't have, and because he was worried about the 8-yard gain that the guy was going to get instead of the 48-yard or 54-yard gain they had.
It just sucks that great. I mean, and it's good for TV. It's good for the fans. But I mean, as a purist, it just fucking sucks that it comes down to a couple plays at the end of the game. That could have gone either way. And especially the fucking. It happened with the Titans game too. There was 3 walk-off field goals this weekend, which is almost unheard of. Ocho can probably tell you the odds behind that. Because Ocho, tell Johnny about the post you had on Facebook about what's his nuts there, John Elway, as opposed to Mahomes.
Okay, well, I mean, again, what has been deemed the drive, which JP, if I say the drive, what is it?
Sorry, bro.
He's old. He's
you're
young,
that young?
Dude. Yeah, he's young. You wouldn't even
it's what they called in the
Joe
86.
Montana, maybe?
No, it's John Elway. It was the 86 championship game, Cleveland versus Denver, to go to the Super Bowl to play the Giants. It was 86, because 87 was different.
Yeah, Johnny was 2?
That's not the point. So there's 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, and Cleveland's up by 7. They pin them. I think it's 20-13 at the time, and they pin Denver on their own 2-yard line. Elway has a 5-minute and something second drive, goes the entire length of the field, and throws a touchdown, I think, to Vance Johnson with a few seconds left to tie the game. They win in overtime, even though Rich Karlis definitely missed that field goal. I don't care what anybody says. That he kicked the field goal in overtime. It went over and to the left of the damn upright. But anyway, a 5-minute and 40-something second left in the game, and they called it the drive. 5 minutes and 40 seconds, there's probably 10 more possessions left nowadays is what I'm saying. Like, it's just such a different world that they call it the drive because it was an amazing drive. I get it, with 98 yards and chewed the clock up. Yet now, 13 seconds, they went 45 yards and kicked a field goal. And, I mean, what's called a drive? Matter of fact, in 91, Denver beat Houston on a last-second drive. And they deemed it the drive, too, but it was a David Treadwell field goal, so they kind of took some luster off it. And it was just to get to the championship game where I think Elway got hurt and they lost to the Bills 10-7 on a bunch of turnovers. Denver should have been in the Super Bowl that year against Washington and not Buffalo. But
Jeez, I only remember Steelers stuff. You just rattled off every single thing that happened.
Yeah, the Steelers went 7-9 that year and lost to Denver 20-13 when freaking Eric Green dropped a game-tying touchdown from Neil O'Donnell in O'Donnell's only 3rd start of his career.
This is Ocho brain. This is your brain.
Somebody fact check me.
It's your brain.
No, we don't have to do that anyway. So that's all. It was just a comparison of like what's deemed the drive, which is in NFL folklore, 5 minutes and 30-something seconds, and nowadays with again prevent defenses with no contact at the line of scrimmage, can't chuck receivers, that kind of thing. It's a different game, but
it is
just.
But coverage is still coverage.
It's non-comparable either, though, because again, these soft, weak coverages where somebody's so wide open. I mean, there's still the same number of players.
Yep.
That's the part I don't understand.
It hasn't changed.
Like even if you do play a zone, like wide open, 30 yards down the field. Anyway, I don't know what the point was, but it just shows how it's different. 13 seconds left. You think there's you get the ball with 2 minutes left, and it's like, the game's over. Back 20 years ago.
Yeah, true. Bless you, Johnny. 2 minute drive was 2 minute drive was always a thing. Like Brady's got
right. The 2 minute offense became a thing, right? Over from Elway, Marino, those guys, and they were like, it was a rarity.
Yeah. Now you got 13 fucking seconds, and it's fucking ridiculous.
But you knew he was going to. And like JP said, like, let's not take any shine off of Mahomes.
No, not at all.
Dude puts the ball like all he has to do is it has to slip off his finger just a little bit. His plant foot has to slip. You know what I mean? And then the ball's either behind him, overthrown, under. You miss. You just slip a little bit, and the ball goes into the ground. I mean, But yet putting the ball right on the spot, and maybe they are just that good now. Which I'm not saying they weren't, but I don't know.
Johnny, what do you think of Matt Stafford? I mean, obviously he played for the Lions for so many years, and obviously they weren't going to go anywhere. But now that he's on a high-powered team like the Rams, do you see him going to the Super Bowl for finally? I mean, he's having a pretty good year.
I've always been a Stafford fan. I like how much, even when he was in Detroit, I like how much he throws the football.
Yeah,
I like quarterbacks to throw the football. And
let's not he's got a cannon too. Like the dude, that's another one. Like the ball literally just explodes off his hand. It's like something. Yeah. It's like a spring or something.
But he's accurate, and he has different arm angles too. I mean, he kind of started that whole thing. Like we see Mahomes do that too. But
Bernie Kosar started it.
Well, yeah. Sorry.
Mahomes is the one quarterback to me that's not the standard quarterback that I really do enjoy watching.
Right.
Like I like watching Brady and Peyton Manning and. I like guys that stay in the pocket,
Pure passers, right?
Yeah. And it's why I've never not knocking him, but I'm not a huge fan of Russell Wilson.
Right.
I was never a fan of Michael Vick, ever. So when I see kind of like a scrappier quarterback, typically I'm just like, he'll never make it. Mahomes, he's different because he has the tools of all of them.
I agree.
And
it looks like Josh Allen does too, though. That's. I mean, they were.
Yeah.
No, he's very good.
It was my quarantine lady. I'm trying to explain to her like the rarity of how amazing these games are. She's like, you say that every time. I'm like, you don't understand. It was literally the best slate of games I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
As far as like the excitement, the drama, the theater. I'm not an X's and O's guy. I want the story. I want the theater of it. 27-3, they're down. Now they're tied up. Are you kidding me? Freaking 13 seconds left in the game. You throw a touchdown on fourth fucking down? Or was that the drive before? I can't even freaking remember anymore.
No, I know.
4th and 13, and he throws a dart, a pill to freaking Gabriel. Who the fuck is Gabriel?
Dude, I mean, we talked about
4 touchdowns.
We talked about Monday night on the main event. It's like the fact that it's cold as fuck in Green Bay, San Fran's not used to that kind of weather, and it starts fucking snowing at halftime. You think that's a perfect fucking condition for a team like the Packers, and they just couldn't get it done. Nobody expected
the 85 Bears would have loved it.
Yeah, they would have.
That shocked the shit out of me, that game, man.
Yeah, me too.
Unbelievable. Never in a million.
I don't think Rodgers cares.
I would never have bet against the Packers in that weather, in that stadium. Unbelievable. It made no sense to me. How could they lose that game?
It's true. I mean, again, there's 3 phases though. Special teams. I mean, but still, you have Aaron Rodgers. I swear, I think he doesn't care. I just think he doesn't care. Like, he's got the stats, he's got the MVPs. He's like, man, this is too cold. I'm going to Florida.
Right? Yeah, no,
I'm leaving tomorrow. I don't care. Bringing my hot wife. I'll talk to Pat McAfee. I don't talk to my family anymore.
Yeah,
I freaking ostracize them. I don't talk to my ex. I don't know. So, like, I'm getting the frig out of Green Bay for this. I'm done as of today.
I'm tired of snow. I'm tired of the fucking minus 15
Like, he
wind
probably
chill.
went, oh, it's fucking snow and it's freezing here. My hands are cold. Fuck this.
People are like, oh, you're used to it, Aaron. You've been there for 15 years. Now, fuck you. It's still cold as cold, goddammit. You don't get used to that shit.
Yeah, maybe he never acclimated because he's always in the, I don't know, his golf clubs were already packed away for certain.
Well, Johnny,
Everybody always talks about the Vegas heat.
Yep.
Nobody ever talks about the Vegas cold. I've been here for 10 years now, and this is embarrassing to say, but unless you've lived here, you'll never understand it. Fucking 50 degrees here, 45 degrees here, and 10-mile-an-hour wind. Kill me, dude.
Yeah.
I need a parka. I need earmuffs. It's so fucking embarrassing. But when I go home and it's 20, it's fucking warmer than it is here.
I agree. Yeah. No,
It's that bone-chilling air that just never stops and nothing anywhere to block it.
Yep.
There's no humidity. There's no warm blanket of, like, warmth when it snows or rains. And it's just fucking cold, man.
Dude, Vegas is
50
windy.
degrees, I'm bitching like it's 10 below.
Vegas is windy as fuck. I went out there on vacation for a weekend in the summer, and it was just, the plane was just fucking all over the place flying in. I mean, it's really windy. Fuck Chicago. I mean, Vegas is a pretty windy city as well. Ocho.
Get wind here.
Is he right? I mean, doctorally wise.
I honestly don't know because usually it's, I don't know.
Well, you lived in Atlanta for a while. It got cold there. Was it a different kind of cold?
Oh, no, because it's humid as hell in Atlanta. Cold
Okay.
was cold. It's still the East Coast. It's the same. It was absolutely the same. No, he's talking. There's something about, it's got to be something with the lack of humidity and the lack of moisture that makes the air more almost rip through you because it's not that it's thick, but it's, I guess, pure. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you have a dry heat.
It's why you can withstand the heat so much, but yet you can't withstand the cold. It's got to be. Dude, I'm telling you, just being out there with him for 5 days or 4 days, I just felt different. Every morning, I'd be like, dude, I know it's 5 a.m. I know I'm 3 hours ahead, so I get why I'm up. But like, I don't feel this good, and it's not that because I don't have work or whatever. Like, I feel freaking different. It's weird. So maybe there's just something. Maybe there's something. Man, I don't.
Whenever I come home, I feel different in the morning. I wake up almost,
here, like it's just heavier or something.
Yeah,
that's the word. I'm groggier. My body is heavier. I drag around. I'm more sniffly in the morning. Here, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It could be something where, like, cellularly, like, we're imbibing easier because there's less pressure, less heaviness, less humidity. I couldn't pinpoint it. I told him every day. I was like, dude, I feel fucking different. And and I mean, not that I would have sat down if I didn't, but like, I don't sit down anyway. And I just never sat down 5 days.
That's why I can't live in Florida.
Until I got on the plane.
I can't live in my dad lives in Florida, and it's just the humidity fucking kills me. 90 degrees.
Again, there's a reason they call it Hotlanta. Like, dude, it's disgusting because it's swampy there. Like, you get
nasty.
that Louisiana, like that freaking Alabama Panhandle, Tallahassee swampiness. It's brutal. But April, March, they're freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, no kidding.
October's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, our favorite months out here are April and let's say September through November. Doesn't get any better out here.
Yeah. That's why I don't understand.
April and May are beautiful.
That's why people love living in San Francisco, because it's just fucking 75 all year round and never hardly ever.
I think you're thinking of San Diego, because San Francisco gets cold.
No, San Diego.
Yeah, I knew what he meant. Rochelle and I were just in LA, and 75 degrees. Perfect. It's always perfect.
The reason I need a season is to appreciate good weather. So much as I hate the winter, just give me the winter for a month, and I'll love the spring and the fall and all that other shit again. Because if I get the same thing every day, again, I can eat pizza every day, but I'm gonna start getting tired of pizza and just want a little break. So that's just me.
I hate the heat. I hate fucking sweating. I was like, God, I can't wait for winter. But now that it's been like 15 to 20 degrees here in Tennessee, I'm fucking over the winter. I want the spring to get here because I'm cold as fuck. And like Johnny, it gets 50 here. It's 40. It's pretty fucking cold. We're back in, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. 40s is like shorts weather.
Still going golfing.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that was the number. If it's over 40, if it's 40 or over, I'm going.
Yeah.
Right.
I had a benchmark number. Anything over 4. I'll even do 38 because I'll hope that
and out here,
2, it's warmer.
Yeah.
Out here, all we check is the wind.
That's it.
If the wind is if it's less than 15 miles an hour, we go.
That makes sense.
If it even sniffs 15 or above, you can golf every day in Vegas. I'm going to skip today.
Yeah.
I'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. The wind out here sucks, man.
Well, that's some good bowling talk.
Well, we got to mix it up a little bit. So, but yes,
we talked about the elephant in the room. We talked about Rash. We mentioned who's on the show, when the show is. Ocho's still flexing out on me. I don't want to embarrass him right now.
You won't. 2 workouts, buddy. Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Ah, damn it. I lose.
You lose. You always lose. In any event. Johnny, when's your Twitter?
Nah, you're more sculpted and then definitely more handsome than me.
It's the mask, dude. The mask does all the work.
Yeah, absolutely right. Johnny, when's that Twitter account coming on here?
I'm waiting on you.
You got to sign up with your email, fucker.
Oh.
Create the account and we'll run it. Just get off your ass and do something, for Christ's sake.
Just start a Johnny Petraglia at yahoo.balls or something, and then you got it.
All right, then.
It's a running joke. It's a running joke now. Like, Johnny's never going to have a Twitter page. But no.
Coach, where can we find you?
I don't know.
I'm not even going to tell you anymore.
Tell him, Rob.
No?
Rob, where?
At the Dr. Ocho.
I'm very active on Twitter.
No, not really. Not really, but you should be. Well, you're more active than Flow Bowling, so there's that.
It's not saying much.
You guys can follow me on Twitter.
I enjoyed this discussion tonight.
I did.
Looking forward to watching the show this weekend and definitely going to want to talk about it on our next show.
Post it on your Facebook feed, too, since people were commenting about this stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, this was a nice – I think we kept it where a lot of people can voice their opinion. With a lot of different angles were discussed with that incident. Some new, probably being brought to light, and others people have probably already visited. So
you opened that up for sure. Now, because now people are even going to look at it from so many different angles. You unpacked a lot of layers from that. Where, like you said, I didn't get to it, but the internet. You said the internet had this point of view, and you had 4 other layers to it that all kind of roll in. So. Another good point. That's why we have you on here.
I thought you did a great job unpacking it and explaining it to everybody and giving your insight. And that's why we have you here, because you bring it to everybody else like nobody else. So Johnny Petraglia Jr. is definitely a rarity when it comes to – because, not a lot of people speak the truth anymore. A lot of people want to shine ass and rep their bowling companies or rep their ball companies or whatever, and they're always walking that line because they don't want to piss anybody off. But Johnny says, fuck it. I'm going to just tell you the truth, right?
Yeah. I'm loyal to my brand. I'm a Brunswick guy forever. And I have no problem talking about the shit that I see in front of me.
Yeah.
It's okay.
By the way, before we wrap it up, I do want to know and I should ask you this before, but Ocho always interrupts me. What exactly about...
I don't ever interrupt you.
Never. What exactly about the Purple Hammer makes it illegal? In fact, I could probably just splice it in.
He said it was soft or something.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means. Like explain to the idiots what it means.
When the Purple Hammer was originally reintroduced, it was poured in Hopkinsville, Kentucky at Ebonite's old plant. The first year or two when they ran the Purple Hammers, there was talk that some of the Purple Hammers didn't measure hardness on the durometer. And then the issue was obviously addressed and fixed if there ever was one. I don't even know if any Purple Hammers were legitimately soft.
Yeah.
But now they're still going on with it. The balls are not even made there anymore. They're in Brunswick's plant now. They're completely different balls, and they still pass whatever hardness test.
So a durometer measures the hardness of a ball. Is that kind of like how a stimp meter measures like the speed of a green or something? Like does it know the surface or if there's grooves or something in it? Like what is a durometer? Right on, I'll let him go.
You know as good as me. Let me see if I can.
Okay, well, I never heard the word until just tonight. So
I thought you would have known, Ocho, given the fact that you're a generalized doctor.
I only know what's hard. I don't know what's soft.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
So I don't need a durometer.
It's a great open for other show.
All right.
It's the international. The durometer is the international standard for the hardness measurement of rubber, plastic, and other non-metallic materials. Durometers are described for, specific and
so it's not even particular to bowling. It's for okay. I guess it can be used for other hardness things.
Well, does Sean think there's still older models like that were poured in ebonite that's still around that they're using?
Yeah, so let's say the hardness level has to be now this is coming back to me. The hardness level when rubber was out used to be 75. If it was 75, it was legal, but it was the softest rubber allowed.
Okay.
So like the LT48, the reason it hooked so much back then is because on the durometer it had a 75 hardness. Whereas the AMF 3 dot and all the other rubber bowling balls of that time, they all were upwards of like the 90 hardness.
So they grip the lane better, I guess, because they're softer, much like a tire or like a
I was going to say
okay.
Or like NASCAR,
Yes.
if they take
the softer the lane surface, the more it hugs the lane.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
So yes, so I think the number is that it has to be harder than 75 on the durometer, because this says on the durometer 70 shore A is standard, whereas 90 shore A is considered very stiff. So 90 stiff, hard, higher number. Bowling, the durometer has to read above a certain level.
Since an amateur would probably understand this, would a plastic ball be 100, I guess?
Plastic ball is like the hardest surface there is.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. I mean, we call them plastic balls, but I guess so they're harder, and that's why they just skid and don't really grip. Okay, makes sense.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Let me ask you this, Johnny. Shouldn't the league be over that like a NASCAR will bring, the winning car into inspection after to make sure it's legal? Should they be doing this with their bowling balls?
Well, that's another thing that happened, and I was listening to Stu Williams and Chris Barnes' show earlier today too, and they played a little clip that one of the things that added to Sean Rash's rant supposedly was they couldn't get the durometer working properly, and they were supposed to measure the hardness of the balls before the show.
Okay.
And Matt Russo was indeed throwing a purple hammer on the left lane. So I only heard that through the grapevine, but they did mention it on the show, which, guys like Stu Williams and Chris Barnes wouldn't broadcast that if it wasn't actually something that may have happened.
True, because it could come back and bite them in the ass.
They've always done random weigh-ins to measure if the ball is legal layout-wise. As far as the durometer, I don't think it's been a staple week in and week out, simply because it's never seemingly an issue. Motive came out with a ball called the Jackal Carnage, which was it's RG, and the differential in the RG number value was too high. Like it was above 2.65 or something like that. That's the only time I've ever seen a ball get taken out for another reason. It's very rare that a bowling ball goes through production and doesn't meet hardness specifications.
Right.
And again, two different manufacturers, two different facilities, two different warehouses, two different pours completely. And he's just pissed off, man. It's the best-selling ball in the world because it's a magic bowling ball.
Yeah.
And when you truly believe that a ball is magic because it's illegal, you'll go as far as you have to go to see it through,
That's unfortunate. So, as far as you know, there is no real standard of measuring balls. They should at least do it before you go on TV, right? I mean, just try to make sure everything is legit and on the up and up.
Yeah, you would think. And again, I haven't been on tour for a while, so I don't know if they're doing hardness checks, random spot hardness checks here and there, or if they actually do a full-blown check before the show. But I know now that if this stink continues, because there are a lot of people in the bowling world that are unhappy with the urethane craze.
Right.
It's upset a lot of traditionalists in the sport, which anytime you throw something new, even if it's old, at somebody, the expression "you can't teach an old dog new tricks."
Your dad.
Nobody
Didn't two-handers? Didn't the two-hander thing kind of piss some people off back 15, 18 years ago or something? Or
Sure.
Yeah, it
still does.
It pisses off everybody to this day. Any traditionalist, the same traditionalists that probably feel their home bowling alley shouldn't get synthetic lanes because the wood is so natural.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, right. That's just fearing change too. Yeah.
That's how I view it. Like Walter Ray Williams Jr. You want to know why Walter Ray is one of the best ever? Because Walter Ray just keeps evolving with what's given to him.
Yep.
Adapt or die.
He's almost 60, if not 60, and he's like, well, if everybody's bowling two-handed, I guess I'll learn how to bowl two-handed also. And now he's got a natural 300s and he's got two-handed 300s.
Oh, I didn't
and he
know
bowls
that.
blocks on tour two-handed.
I didn't know that.
Like
That's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's fucking great.
Well, hold on, before you go on to that, so I want to get back to the Sean thing. So he's not alone, huh?
No,
he's the one that's outspoken about it. He has no reason to backtrack or just die on the vine. He can keep pushing this since it sounds like he's got a little bit of a following about it.
If we're gonna say that his outburst was because of urethane, there are enough people out there, mainly people that cannot throw the purple hammer.
Right, okay.
People that are bound by contract and are not allowed to throw the purple hammer are the people that have the biggest problem. And I understand, like, again, this also has so many different layers to it. I understand, like, all the really, really good league bowlers that the house guys, I see posts all the time that say, you're fucking idiots if you bring urethane to league. It's fucking obnoxious that you fucking come and ruin league night throwing urethane. I get that. Because there is no house shot on this planet that you can't strike on. And you don't need fucking urethane all the time. So if you're a righty and you're going to league and 6 guys on your pair are righty and they're all throwing urethane and you're trying to throw your new resin ball, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
I get it. And your night is ruined. I get that. But in the same respect, then just go drill a urethane ball, man. That's what people are doing now.
So why can't his company make a ball similar? Or are they not?
Nobody can. Nobody has been able to recreate the purple hammer or its motion.
I don't get that. They can't go buy one and then break it in half, or like trying to figure someone else's spaghetti sauce.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's not like the fucking, it's not like the Colonel's fucking, 12 herbs and spices or whatever. Like,
here's one thing that I think. Do you guys know what the most expensive part of a bowling ball is?
Finger grips.
Good try.
Fuck that.
The cover. The cover.
Okay.
So when you drill into a bowling ball, and you use finger grips. When you guys see them drill, the top layer of the cover stock is maybe like, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch thick.
Okay. Oh, right. Thick. You see the different color actually of the.
And then you go to the interior core, right? Purple hammer's 2 pieces, man. It's weight block and cover. That cover goes all the way to the weight block.
Oh, so that thing is urethanes. Freaking. Oh shit.
No other urethanes from any other company, whether it's Storm's Pitch Black, Motives, one of 100 fucking tanks that they have, 900 Globals had a Badger urethane or something like that. Nobody else has a 2-piece urethane, like an old school fucking urethane. So they say the purple hammer is less oil absorbent. The oil doesn't get trapped in its cover. It doesn't do this. It doesn't do that. Why do you think Rad Rob can still throw his Teal Rhino Pro? It was the same fucking thing. His ball, his shell until it gets to the core.
Yeah.
So if someone had a U-dot.
Same thing with the Forest Green Quantum.
Yep.
Those balls stand the test of time.
If someone walked in with a Columbia U-dot, would they be striking then, or is that a different thing? Because that's the only thing I remember.
A U-dot would be like, no, it would be, because now you have extremely old urethane, whereas at least the additives and the newer urethane.
Oh, gotcha. They could at least hold up from. I gotcha.
So is that proprietary technology that they have then? when it comes to the Purple Hammer? Is that just like nobody else has the actual?
It's like the recipe. They're the only ones that have that recipe. Basically,
Yeah,
they have the
nobody
formula,
else.
the scientific advance. So there's no freaking astrophysicists out there that can make this bowling ball.
That's what I don't get. Like, just break it down and dissect it. Break into a million pieces. See what it's in it. I mean, like, test the fucking shit in it. You think somebody would be able to do
We
that?
can get rocks off the moon. We can't figure out how to replicate this bowling ball. Jesus Christ!
That's a movie.
Yeah, and what's amazing is nobody's even come close.
Yeah.
And want to know the best part about it? The day after Sean Rash's blow up, we announced our 2 brand new releases coming out for Hammer. One of them, y'all guys remember the Hammer 3D offset?
Sure.
That magenta ball from like the late 90s, 97?
Yep.
We're re-releasing that ball, and now they're re-releasing the Black Widow pink urethane, which is hot pink pearl, same exact cover as the Purple Hammer, but now it has an asymmetric weight block. So now they're going to have to worry about the purple ball and the pink ball.
Wow.
So they're really just recycling bowling balls with a different block in it, and like using and I mean that's genius too, because you don't even have to spend the money in formulas or anything.
Oh, better ingredients, obviously, but yeah, same standard.
But they already have the ingredients. It's still, you don't even have to do any testing or you don't have to do computer work or anything. You literally just go get the old bowl. Okay, here, now let's put the new gimmicks in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's updated, like better materials than they used to use, but yeah, the actual structure of the ball and cores.
That's wild.
It's all the same, but yeah, that's
like you're just building a house with a better frame, basically.
That's it. Yeah, pretty much. That's crazy. See, that's why I like listening to you, Johnny, talk about that stuff, because that's shit that I don't even think about. I've been bowling for 30 fucking years, but where do we
suck so bad if you've been bowling for 30 years?
Shut the fuck up. Where do we go from here? Like, do you think Sean backtracks? Do you think he's going to keep pushing the issue? Do you think somebody else is going to speak out on his behalf or defend him?
No, I don't. And at this point,
he's dug himself pretty far deep at this point, I feel like. He just might want to go with it.
It's all in, right?
I think the show is going to tell a lot. I think that he can still go any way he wants. I know Sean, and I don't think Sean's going to give a fuck about what anybody says, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I think Sean's going to do what Sean does because he flipped the script pretty quick on that show. For 8 frames, he bowled like a professional. He was the self-talk was good. He was keeping himself mentally in the match, even though he was losing by such an amount of pins. And then he just erupted in the 9th and 10th frames. And then he has the outburst about his daughter being sick, which, sending love and well wishes. I hope she's okay. But that was another thing that threw me off. Like, he breaks down in tears at the end of the show, and then he's talking about how his youngest one is sick, Cooper cough, or what the babies get.
I know what you mean.
Cupping, whatever it is, cupping cough, whatever.
Yeah.
But you would think, like, for instance, my good friend that I bowl league with out here, Jake Peters, he made a show as well. The first thing they talked about was how heavy of a heart Jake is bowling with because he lost his wife, Melissa, my ex-wife's teammate, fucking 30 years old, horrible.
Yeah.
But like they usually will mention when bowlers are bowling with a heavy heart, and they didn't mention once that Sean's kid was sick or anything like that, and in no way, shape, or form did he even portray anything like that for the first 8 frames until he knew he was about to be the next victim to a lefty throwing urethane that he's not allowed to.
Yeah.
Because of what happened with the company during the split.
So he basically did his best to keep the lid on the emotion to stay in the match. Obviously, like you said, he was a true professional, good mental game, good self-talk. And again, maybe that was just a guise to prevent this shit from happening, which I guess it came out anyway.
Well, I mean, did he think his opponent threw the game on purpose? Like, I mean, I just don't understand an outburst if he's back in the game.
Well, he did it beforehand. You said
he fried out in the 10th frame.
Right when he thought he was going to lose.
Yeah, Matt literally had to do what he did in the 10th frame. Matt got 5 and then missed the spare.
Yeah.
Even when Matt got the 5 count, if he makes it, he still wins.
Right.
Doesn't even need a pin on the fill ball. He just threw two very, very poor shots. And
it was the same spare that he made the frame before, you said. So
yeah, and
you already saw him make it.
The worst part about it is when he shot it in the 10th frame, everybody in the building thought he made it. You know what happened? The ball took out just the 4-pin.
Yeah,
it went between the baby split.
How do you even fit the ball in there?
Yeah, I saw the clip.
So he threw it perfect. He literally threw it perfect.
Yeah.
Curved it right in, and it went boink, took just the 4-pin out.
So if it moves a half a centimeter to the right, he makes that spare again.
Quarter of an inch spare.
Holy shit.
No, not even a quarter of an inch.
I said a centimeter. So a centimeter is a little less than it's 2.54 centimeters is 1 inch. So half an inch. I'll take it.
Thank you for
holy shit. He picked it clean. Threw a baby. Oh my God. That's like
right out the middle.
Wow.
So he should have freaking made it. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Oh shit.
Wait, what are the odds of throwing the same count like that? I mean, twice. Anyway.
Other than flat 7 pins, Matt pretty much only left the 2-4 combination. The 2-4-7, I think the actual 2-4-7, he left 2 or 3 times, made it all 3 times.
Yeah.
That's the
then
3 on the left.
2-4-7 with the 6-10, made that in the 9th frame. So we all were kind of like, hey, maybe he'll make it. The only difference is when he left it in the 10th frame, it was the first time he left the 2-4-7 combination on the right lane.
Which was a different pattern, right? You said?
And a different ball. Yes. He was using a black hammer on the right lane.
Gotcha.
So he had shot the 3 2-4-7s and the split in the 9th frame, all with the purple hammer on the dragon pattern.
So that sequence could never, ever happen again. Like, that could be just a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Back-to-back
like that. Happens more than you would think.
Does it really?
It does, yeah, especially when you're trying to create that much angle to cover the entire spare. It's still like, whoa, when it happens, it catches you, but it's nowhere near as rare as watching like a 7-10 being picked up.
Because you're expecting, it's almost weird because you expect to see the pins disappear because the ball is still driving at them. And then all of a sudden to see only one disappear out of the whole freaking rigmarole.
That's crazy.
Wow, he should have made it. He threw it exactly where he should have. Because if you throw it that perfect, I guess that's the only way to pick it clean.
I guess bowling is really one of the few true sports where you can do something perfect and still get fucked out of it every time.
Absolutely.
Belmo said that at one point, I remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you can rope a ball at somebody and freaking hit it as hard as you can in a game, and it goes right at him, and then bloop one. Yeah, you could tug on the nose on a bowling ball and on the pins and still carry sometimes. So, I guess it evens out.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm being such a pessimist or a devil's advocate. Fuck off. We done yet?
Yeah, we're done.
I know how to end a show.
Guys, we appreciate your support. We'll be back next week for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. See you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to Straight Up 5. If you would like to send your questions into Johnny Jr., send us an email at straightup5@gmail.com. That's straight up FIVE@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.